Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this episode of the Fit Pod 1, where we discuss the highs and lows of embarking on a fitness journey. Today's episode, I have a friend in the house. I'll just go ahead and introduce him. So today we have Tunde Leye. Tunde Leye is a Nigerian author and storyteller renowned for his diverse contributions to literature and media. His notable works include the critically acclaimed novels Afonja the Rise and Afonja the Fall, as well as children's books such as Aganju and The Rat Race. Tunde has a fantastic book which he has just put out in the market, The Fireflies of the Lagoon. Awesome literature work. He's also put out a new movie, so that's wonderful. His bio again. So Tunde has expanded his storytelling into stage films and documentaries with projects such as Finding Hubby and its sequel. Also, the Lagos Job. Look out for that. That's pretty new. I'm sure you enjoy watching that. So Tunde divides his time between Nigeria and the United Kingdom. In addition to his literary pursuits, Tunde is committed to maintaining a healthy lifestyle. And approximately, I believe it's 2 years now after receiving a medical advice to prioritize his fitness, he's embarked on a dedicated journey to improve his health. His effort has indeed led to significant weight loss of about 23 kg. That's huge. And better blood pressure control. Tunde's experience underscores the importance of consistency, dedication to personal well-being. Tunde's multifaceted career and personal health journey offers valuable insights into the balance between professional endeavors and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. This is great. Oh, Tunde, great to have you, Tunde. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
You pretty much covered it all, which is
Okay.
interesting because we've known each other for, it's almost 30 years now. So
Yeah.
you probably know as much about me as anybody would. If you think about what is the background of how I live my life, it's that there's that thing that Miles Monroe said, where he said, go to the grave empty. So try to do everything that you have within you to do here. So it's why I do all the things I do. And that's sort of the starting point. So I do, of course, I write books and all of that. That's what most people know me for. Storyteller as a writer, books, film, stage, and the likes. It's why I'm here in the UK at this moment. In addition, I also I work in financial services. I work in financial services. I've done payments. I've done central banking. I've done a bunch of other things in financial services. I've also done tech. I've run a tech company. I run a research company. I used to do music at some point in my life. So I've done quite a bit to get here, and it's my motto is always to do as much as I can with all the things that I do. I'm married with 2 children, 2 very beautiful children, who are the center of my life. Yeah, that's me. All the things I've done up to this point, outside of the things Trudy may have said, all the nice things.
Oh, well, it's great to have you. Great to
Like,
have you. Thanks for doing this. So interestingly, we're talking about wellness, health, and well-being. So tell us a bit about how that's coming about and how the whole journey started.
yeah, I'm one of those people that rarely falls ill. Right? I can count on maybe my one hand or at the most half of the second hand the number of times I've fallen ill in being on the planet for 4 decades. Uh, so I wouldn't say that I was one of those that took being well and all of that very seriously, because I was lucky enough that I didn't have, recurring health issues. You get what I mean? But I think as you get older, the body starts telling you different things, right? So in my family, my dad is late, and it passed from complications around long use of blood pressure medicine. So there is a history of blood pressure, high blood pressure issues, hypertension in my family, dad and my mom. Uh, and then I'm the last of five children. And my older siblings had also started on blood pressure medications. And I started to experience some, blood pressure. It wasn't major issues, but when I would go in for regular, just checks and all that, the doctors would say that my BP was significantly outside of tolerance. And it meant that, I would begin to, and I was bigger, slower. I couldn't do a lot of things as actively as I would like to. And if you, I live a very active, I do a lot of things. So I need to get here, do this, do that. But my body wasn't, carrying it again. Let me put it that way. So one of those days, my doctor sort of sat me down and said, look, there are only two paths that you can follow. Number one path is we start you off on blood pressure medication. And once you start blood pressure medication, you do it for the rest of your life.
The rest of your life.
For the rest of your life. Once you're on it, you're on it. Or you start exercising and make some lifestyle changes. And once you do that, it will bring all of this under control, and you have a lot of other benefits for this lifestyle changes. And so that's when I made the decision to start. Fortunately, I had a friend called Judy who had made who had made that kind of decision about a month before me. And he had started at a gym in Lagos, Forza Gym. Yeah. And and we happened to live about 15, 20 minutes from each other, not too far at all. And the gym was halfway between us. It was closer to his house, but it was halfway between us. So it was easy because I had a good friend that already started that lifestyle to just plug into what he was doing. And then we became accountable for each other. If he wasn't getting up on the day, I'll be the one that'll call. If I wasn't getting up on the day, she'll be the one that'll call. And we just started. And fortunately, when we both left Nigeria within 2 weeks of each other as well. He to Canada, myself to the UK, and thank God for social media. So social media is a way that we then continue to keep each other accountable and in touch. And okay, have you been? I post a video. It checks off that I've been to the gym. He posts a video. It checks off that he's been to the gym as well. And that's just how it started and how it's been. This is year 3, if I'm not mistaken. We've done this for 2 years and we're in the third year of doing this now consistently, which is amazing.
It's amazing. Thank you for that background. Recently, our topic is curating something that would work for each individual. So, how should beginners approach setting a fitness goal? How did you approach it? What was it like?
Great. That's a great question. It's important in those early days to not get discouraged.
Yeah.
And then just fall off. People want to come in, and I think there's a lot of things on social media that means that people set unrealistic expectations. Somebody tells you I have a 30-day program for you to go from this to this. And then when they are not in that shape in 30 days, you're like, maybe I'm not genetically made up to be for fitness.
Good.
I think the first thing to say is that everybody has like different bodies and your body will respond to fitness in very different ways. And we need to go into it with that understanding, like with every other thing, right? So the way my body would respond to fitness is different from, for example, the way your body responded to fitness, workout, and all of that. Or as an example, you are just on the average physically stronger than I am. So when I remember those days when we needed to maybe lift stuff and all of that, even from the natural state, you could lift heavier than me. So I would work with lower weights. You worked with higher weights, but we were doing the same programs and all of that. So it's all of that recognizing that, People are different. People start from different phases. That's sort of fundamental. I think second is that to get some help at the early stages, you really don't know what you're doing too much. So it's good to we paid for like a fitness instructor for the first 6 months.
Yeah.
So in those first 6 months, we were able to, supplement that with watching videos, with getting material, so that we got an education on what was needed to do for the fitness journey. And then it also helped in setting the goals. I think the goals for your fitness journey depends on where you're coming from. So in my case, for example, I wanted to lose weight acceleratedly, but also I wanted it to be in such a way that it was a sustainable lifestyle, so that I wasn't trying to do something drastic that I would not be able to sustain. So in terms of changing how I ate, in terms of changing, in terms of working it into my program, in terms of uh, the exercises that I did, in terms of all of those, it was with the goal to be sustainable, so that even when I didn't, I knew I was going to leave the country, even when I wasn't in a place where I had friends and support and all of that, I would still be able to continue to sustain it. So I think it's important to do that as well to make it sustainable. So in setting the goals, just back to that question, that set goals that align with what you want to do. So if it's weight loss, if it's strength, if it's you're training for a marathon, the things you need to do for each of those things are different. If you're doing calisthenics, if it's a specific sport training for, they're different. So from the beginning, know what you're training for, and then get the education to set the goals that align with what you're training for.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. That's such a great response. Thank you very much for that response. So, how important is variety in a workout plan, and
Oh,
how often should exercises be switched up? That's just I know that we started off having several trainings, and so how did that impact your own health
yeah.
journey?
Yeah, we were fortunate that we started off with a lot of variety. So we got to know the very many different ways of achieving the same, exercise goal. So if, for example, you want to work the biceps, because we got that instruction early, we knew how to do it with just the bar, we knew how to do it with just the dumbbells, we knew how to do it with the kettlebell, we knew how to do it with the cable machine, and
Yeah.
able to do it without no equipment. Getting all of that variety, so that because life will throw you, if you work in a field, for example, where you travel, you may not have access to equipment everywhere you go, and you need to be able to work out without equipment. So having that helped us to be able to infuse the right, because it could get boring sometimes, especially when you're not with your guys and you're not in a
Yeah.
group where you guys are doing it together, when it depends on you getting up by yourself and going to the gym and getting stuff done. And then when you live in a place where you're new, so you don't have a community yet. So variety is pretty important, but it's also very important to understand, and which is why I said getting an education, the fundamentals, because the fundamentals um, are sort of the same, whether you are working with a cable machine, for example, or with a dumbbell or with a barbell. So if you're working biceps, it's the motions that you need to go through are the same. So it's important to understand those fundamentals. Like if you're working biceps, the motions are the same. You're lifting, you have your curl and you hold it there and you come back. Whether you're using dumbbells, barbells, cable, whatever.
Whatever.
So even when you can figure out new exercises by yourself and get the form right, and you get the things right by knowing the basics. For example, if you're working chest, there is what you should do, and the kind of incline or elevation you need to have if it's chest you want to work, or if it's
Yeah.
shoulders you want to work for the same motion and all of that. So it's important to know those basics and then use it to work in your variety. Variety can
Sure.
be in the actual exercises. Variety can be in the way you mix the exercises. Variety can also be in the intensity that you have for the exercises. So there are times when you do them in for like an high intensity, no rest in between. Just all of that type of variance thing. One of the things I haven't done very well, which I intend to do more as the weather gets better, is I haven't included a lot of outdoor in my fitness routine. So I walk a lot because it's hard not to walk if you live where I live. The city is designed to make sure that you walk and all that. But the deliberate going out for a run, for a jog, and all of that, I want to then infuse a bit more of that in my routine. So I think it's doing all of these different things that ensures you have some variety, you have some structure around the variety, and you can come up with new things because you have an education that understands the basics and the fundamentals. Yeah.
Also, so question: were there common mistakes that you made when you started your wellness journey that people should try to avoid? Just some insight so that they don't make the same mistakes if you have made them.
Absolutely. Um, with my body, I'm very risk averse. So one thing I know I didn't do earlier, there's this culture in the gym where people are trying to show up and trying to show I can lift the most, I can do this the most. I never got into all that because it's the easiest way to get injured. And honestly, I think one of the worst things that can happen to you in your fitness journey is getting an injury. Because one, it sets you back because until the injury gets healed, you can't exercise. But also importantly, it limits what you can do going forward. If you have an injury, if you tear a bicep, for example, then the exercises you can do on your biceps become limited even after it heals. So I'm careful with that. Having said that, there are still some mistakes. So the first early one, which thank God for education, there's this guy I used to watch a lot, Athlete X, that sort of corrected that for me, was because you were eager to lose weight and you wanted to do stuff and all of that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the rest and recovery phase is an important part of your fitness.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be in the gym every day, doing, exercises every day, believing that the more I went in, the more I did, the quicker I would lose weight and all of that. But that's, again, beginning to understand it more and looking at people that have done this, you realize that you need to have some rest and recovery days in between your workout days so that your muscles will have the opportunity um, to get hypertrophy, to grow and all of that. So that was sort of the first big mistake. You remember now we used to want to be in the gym. We'll be there Monday to Friday, and then we'll be there on Saturday again. We now included Saturday, but these days I have rest days in between. Most of the time I'm in the gym 4 days a week, and then 3 other days are rest days in between. So that was sort of the first major one. Of course, the second one that everybody makes is the form mistakes, where where you're fooling yourself. You think you're doing the exercise, but you're doing it in such a way that it won't hit the muscle, because once you hit the muscle, you feel the effect. So you're compensating so that it doesn't hit the muscle, and you're essentially fooling yourself. Thank God for training. The trainer at the beginning that made sure that we corrected some of those. You remember that I think I hurt my wrist in the way I used to do curls and all of that. Yeah, so I did get a little injury, but nothing too major at the time. Yeah, so I think those were the things that I can remember. But I tried to be careful. Again, recognizing that I got into the fitness lifestyle late. I was already in my late 30s, which means that if I got an injury, uh, recovery would not be the same as somebody in their 20s, for example, or in their teen years. The body is different. So I couldn't afford a major injury that would then take such a long time to heal and all of that. So I was pretty careful.
How have you balanced? You said it, you're a dad, you work, you have your writing commitments. How have you balanced life in its entirety? How would you say? And I know you go to the gym, but sometimes The weather isn't also very good for you to go to the gym.
Absolutely.
So have you made it work?
Yeah.
So
So I think the first thing is that the commitment is to working out. It's not to going to the gym, which are two different things, right? So it doesn't mean that if I can't get to the gym, then I can't work out. There are a bunch of other things I make sure I do to
you
be
can
able
do.
to. But going to the gym is great. There's more equipment, there's more ambience, and all of that. So what I try to do is I try to make it to the gym at least 3 days a week. And then recognize that there'll be one of the days when either I'm too tired to go or work commitment means that I can't. And I bought very basic stuff, dumbbells, a set of dumbbells, different weights to do the home workout. Again, because I understand how to use those things to achieve the same exercise goal for the day, it means that even if I can't make it to the gym, I can use the dumbbells to achieve that exercise goal for the day. But it's also included me making sacrifices. I have to go to the gym very early, much earlier than most people get up, in order to be able to fit it into my current schedule and current lifestyle. So typically, I'm in the gym by 5 a.m. on the days that I go to the gym, so that I'm in the gym by 5 a.m., which means I have to get up 4:30. The gym is like a 7 minute drive from my house. So I have to get up by maybe 4:30 and then get on the road by 4:45 and in the gym by 5 a.m. Uh, I'm very conscious of utilizing the time in the gym very, effectively and efficiently. So because I need to be out of the gym at the most 6:15. So I'm there between 5 a.m. and 6:15 to get home by 6:30 at the most, where I'm then trying to get ready myself and also get the children up to get ready for school if it's a school period, right? But yeah, I've had to work in getting up early to get to the gym on time and also be very efficient in the way I use the time in the gym. And then on the
Mm.
days I can't go because you will get up and man, I'm like, I'm not getting up at 4:30 today. No, 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 no. And then what that means is that on those days I just come downstairs, I sleep a little more, like maybe get up by 5:30 or 6 o'clock, come downstairs, get the dumbbells and do my exercises at home. That way I achieve my exercise goal, whether I go to the gym or not. And then on the days that I realize that maybe I didn't get as much workout in the gym as I should, I increase how much walking I have to do on those days.
Okay,
So
good.
sure, during my lunch break, I get up, I do a walk. Just I think the mindset is that I am trying to achieve an exercise goal for the day. It's not about whether I do it in the gym or I do it when I work out in the morning at home or when I'm able to get up during the day to do the exercise. It's just, did I achieve my exercise goal for this day? If I did, great. Doesn't matter where it happened. That has helped me to work it into my lifestyle.
Into life. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks again. How do you balance the various varieties? Do you have days with which you set out to tick off just using equipment? I know that some days you say you work out in the house. Do you always do work out with the dumbbells, or there are times when you just work out on or with your body weight? What are the various considerations there? Can you just share a bit of?
Yeah, I think I try to listen to my body quite a bit.
Okay,
Again,
into your
yeah,
body.
I try to listen to my body quite a bit. Very important. Your body is always talking to you. Pain is a pain is a good way that it communicates to you, and you want to listen. There's none of us is Superman. So if you're
Yeah.
feeling pain, then it means that you need to work it in that space. But what I try to do is that I try to put variety while
Okay.
trying to achieve. So the intention, let's put it this way. I usually work with like a 2 week cycle where in that 2 week cycle, mentally, I have the body parts I want to hit. Some maybe twice or thrice in that 2 week cycle,
Yeah. Exactly.
in different combinations. But what I then do is that I use different exercises to hit the same body part on different days, so that I'm not going in and doing the same thing
Okay.
over and over again. As an example, let's say it's chest I want to do. On Sunday, I do like the bar push-ups and all of that, and that's all I do. But on the next chest day, maybe I do a combination of dumbbells and the cable machine. And then
Okay.
on the third day, I do just machines for the chest. So in that way, I'm still hitting the chest, but I'm using
Yeah.
different ways to do it. On some
Oh,
days, I just do body weights for the chest, push-ups, and all that. So it's varying it, but knowing that you're trying to hit the same muscle group.
yeah.
Also being conscious that if you don't consciously think about it, there's some muscle groups you won't ever hit. Because it's very easy to go into the gym and do chest and arms,
Mhm.
but you have abs, you have your lats, you have your legs. But I do try to vary it in that manner. Again, knowing that this is what I want to hit, but there are different ways to hit it, and then vary it on the days that I want to hit them.
So
And
great.
it's good to document. So I have videos.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I
Okay.
have videos that I
Okay.
then go back and watch, and I say, okay, yeah, when I was doing the last of this, this was what I
Okay.
did. So let me vary it. The videos help to
Okay.
have a look at that
Okay.
again.
It's okay. Okay. That's good. Thanks for chipping that in. So because we have a growing audience, what advice would you give someone who's starting off his own health journey to stay motivated? What
Right.
advice? Yeah, what would you say kept you going even in the cold, the cold winter, having to drive even after a snowstorm or a snow
Yeah. So
season,
the
driving to the
snow,
gym?
getting the fun.
What has kept you going?
Um, I think it's a bunch of things. There was a very clear reason why I started doing this. And that reason was not about anybody else. It was about me, my health, uh, and to
Right.
be yeah, protecting it and making sure that I'm healthy enough to be available for my family.
Yeah.
I have a young family. I want to be around for long in a way that is, healthy. I don't want to be hooked up to any medicine that was my life extender. So that reason was very fundamental to me and it kept me motivated. Second is, I know I've said this many times, but when I try to do stuff, and it's the thing I advise people to do, is to take an interest in it beyond just the
So
surface level
routine.
of it. Go into it. Um, try to get an understanding of how it works. Um, read stuff, watch stuff. There was a time my YouTube feed was all fitness stuff. Get a very good understanding of it. See all the mistakes, see all the pitfalls and all of that, and work them in. Third is have someone or some people that keep you accountable on this. Um, I know I've mentioned it that Shudi and I we started on this together. He like a month before me, but doing this together early on kept both of us accountable.
Yeah.
So that by the time we were moving to different countries, it had become a lifestyle, and it was easier to then keep accountable remotely. Where I'll post a video, we live our time zone are 6 hours apart, something like that. So I'll post a video. By the time he gets up, he sees my video, and he checks it and says, "Yes, you've done today." And then I check by the time I close work, I check, "Oh yeah, Judy has done today." That type of thing. It's both of us accountable in that way. Accountability is pretty important. And then I think the last one is to try to make it a sustainable. There are too many people that try to do drastic stuff to achieve a very short-term goal. Fitness is meant to be a lifestyle. Of course, there will be times maybe you want to get married and you want to quickly accelerate to get to your target weight to fit into your dream dress. That's all right. But for a fitness lifestyle, it's you are working it into your life so that it is sustainable in the long run. So if there's food you enjoy, for example, that is not a health hazard. So it's different case if it's a health hazard. But if there's food you enjoy, and you And you think the only way you can have your fitness goal is to stop that food totally. You set yourself up for failure because you
Yeah.
do actually enjoy the food, and there is life. You should enjoy life as well. So what you're doing, what I do for things I enjoy is I have very set times when I can have them. So I look forward to that. Rather than saying I'm never going to eat this again, I'm never going to drink this again because I'm having a fitness lifestyle. The lifestyle is that I do it in a sustainable way so that I can still have some of the things I enjoy, but it's no longer in a way that is detrimental to my body or detrimental to my health. I know my wife will roll her eyes right now because one of those things I haven't quite achieved.
Yeah, that's right. It's continual, so it's not.
Absolutely.
Do you track progress, and how have you tracked progress, your work, health progress? Do you like? I currently do this whole check on Mondays, not every day. I check my weight on a Monday before I start working out, before I start any workout. So I do my own workouts like on a weekly basis. I set out what I'm going to achieve that week, and what is it, what you're getting better at, and how your health is improving.
So uh, that track progress question, you know, the the metric that most people want to look at is two metrics, right? Actually, three. One metric is what do you weigh? So, like for me at the early stages, the very visible metric of my fitness was that I dropped 23 kilograms.
Yeah.
Which was great and all of that. But I've also realized as I've gone on that uh, there is it is what you are dropping in weight or what you are adding in weight that matters. So since then, I've probably added another 5 kilograms. But what I've added more is
Also,
muscle than anything else. So that's important. So there's weight. That is very straightforward to track. There is also aesthetic, how you look, how the clothes fit, and all of
mhm,
that, and which is also pretty important. I mean, people will say it's vain, but it's important. It's how you look.
yeah.
And then the third, which is most important for me, is what the fitness lifestyle enables me to do. Can I walk for longer? Can I run better? When I'm playing with my children, do I gas out quicker? Um, what's my blood pressure like? Which is the early thing that I got into this for. Am I controlling that better? All of those are the things that I look at. So I look at them from all of those angles, not as frequently as you do. So I don't look at it on a weekly basis, but I look at it with some regularity to check and be sure, the things that I'm in the fitness lifestyle for working. It helps that I'm in a place in the country. I spend most of my time now in a place where I need to walk.
Mhm.
So some days part of not exercising bits, but I have to walk for upwards of an hour and a half, 30 minutes. Just getting to the train station, getting from the train station to the office, uh, going to grab lunch, just walking around. My office is in two buildings, so I have to walk across those two buildings quite a bit. All of that. So when I put all of that in, I do quite a bit of walking, and sometimes I realize very quickly that I'm passing out quicker. I'm trying to get to the station, and maybe I need to do a run. Then I put in more cardio into my um, routine to work on that uh, everything. So yeah, that's how I track it today. Uh, Not the most efficient way, but that's what I've got right now.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so underrated workout
Hmm.
that you say there's that workout that maybe a lot of people avoid. Maybe you started avoiding it at the start of your journey that you have incorporated.
I usually would say people don't like doing burpees.
Okay.
and in all the various forms that burpees exist. Uh, but it's one of those exercises that
That's really effective.
very effective because it allows you use your body weight or whatever other weight that you include in the burpees to in the most effective ways possible. You go all the way down, then you have to come up and you have to jump. And so you go through all the range of motions that you will need to, and it works you out. So the reason people avoid it is because it works you out. Right? You find that you are out of there. But I try to include burpees in my workout in different varieties. There are different varieties of it. But I do try to include burpees in my workout uh, quite a bit because it's one of the easiest ways for me to see how quickly I'm getting out of stuff. The other thing that I wanted to add is people underrate the place of nutrition. I eat.
Mm.
It's pretty important to whatever fitness goal you have. I know I've said that in the things we enjoy, which I do, but also there is no fitness or well-being or wellness lifestyle that will not include making some changes in how you
Mm.
yeah, there's none. There's none. I can guarantee.
Doesn't make
There will be some changes you need to make in how you eat, what you eat, or the portions in which you eat them at. Just how you eat, what you eat, the portions, the timing for your eating. There will be some eating demands on you for any wellness, for any workout, for any fitness lifestyle that you want to inculcate. You just have that at the back of your mind as you do it. Uh, do it in a way. I think what I always encourage is do this in a way that is uh, going to be sustainable. But that in a way that's going to be sustainable. That's what's important. But you will need to make some changes.
having accountability partners. How would you say that impacted your journey from start until now?
Yeah. It's because it's really important. It's fitness and the wellness and getting even the body you desire. It's a long-term commitment that requires long-term consistency. And the way that we are, right? There is nobody that will tackle anything that requires long-term consistency that will not have some days that are just difficult to keep that consistency going. You want to sleep in a little longer. You've had a tough day before. You have a tough day ahead. The children are your childcare requirements are massive. There's just many reasons, right, why you can drop in terms of consistency. What that person is there for is the term we use is to ginger. It's to ginger you to come out and just get the day done. Build not just the physical muscle but the mental muscle to continue to do this because that mental muscle is also important as you do it consistently. You build it and you build it and you build it. That's what that is for. It's also something that uh, is one of the things I miss about being back home in Nigeria with you and the guys from the gym. Tunde, um, you know,
Hobby,
Hubby,
yeah.
everybody that were in the gym was the community bit. Doing it with the community really, really helps. It makes it a lot more fun, more interesting. Here, I have to do a lot of it by myself. So you don't have someone
So,
supporting you. You don't have someone, which means that you have to be a lot more careful. If you have a spotter, then you can try to push the limits
yeah.
of what you're lifting and all of that. But you recognize if you don't have a spotter, and you have to be careful so that it's a weight that you can handle up by yourself if you get to failure and stuff like that. So that it's all of the combinations of that you need the person for. What I would say is a lot of people want other people to keep them accountable, but they don't want to make the effort to be the one keeping the other person accountable sometimes as well. Remember the way we used to do it back in Nigeria? if I when I was leaving home, I'll check to see if you had left because you walk, I would have to drive to the gym. So if you had
Yeah.
left, then we'll get to the gym about the same time. But if you hadn't left, then it would mean that you start getting up to work at the time. If I hadn't called you, you would call me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that helps, I guess.
Okay, so tell us more about your newest works. Is there anything you're working on now? Is there something you
Yeah.
worked on? Your
Always,
literary
always
business?
working on stuff.
Can you just share? I know
Always
you're
work-
always doing something.
always working on stuff. So,
You won a couple of awards, couple
oh,
of days, a
recently,
few
yes.
weeks ago. Yeah.
I have a short film that is out. It's around Lagos history, and it's gone to a bunch of festivals. Festivals here in the UK. It's been screened in UK
Oh,
here. It's been screened in Lagos multiple times. It was even screened at the Afrif. It's also been screened in Rwanda. Uh, a bunch of those places, and it won about 2 awards recently back home in Nigeria. So that's there. But the reason I did that short film was to promote a book. And that book is out now, Fireflies of the Lagoon. It's based on the 1851 British bombardment of Lagos. So the book is out. It's available on Amazon. It's available from bookstores as well. Uh, so yes, that's there. I do also have a film coming out. It's called The Lagos Job. It's a shite film. When the details of when or where we're going to release it are not clear yet, but the film is ready. We're just going through the motions of where we're going to release it. That's also there. Yeah, so there's always stuff I'm working on. There's documentary. There's again, my mantra is do as much as you can with the gifts that you have.
okay. So how can our audience reach you? Social?
Twitter quite a bit. I'm Tunde Leye on Twitter at Tunde Leye. On Instagram, I am at Tunde_Leye.
Okay.
I put more of my fitness stuff on Instagram. I put
Okay.
more of my writing stuff on Twitter.
On
So,
Twitter.
yeah.
Just off the top of your head, would you write something on fitness or
That's an
wellness
interesting
or your
question.
health journey?
Yeah, it's an interesting and it's a good question. Because I've had I post my workouts regularly,
Yeah.
and I don't do it primarily for the accountability bit, because that's the way Trudy sees that I've worked out,
Yeah.
and then he posts as well. That's the way I see he's worked out, and so we like and yeah, I've seen it type of thing. But in that process, there's a lot of people that have, asked me, can you give us what your routine is like? Can you tell us and all that? I know that, I mean, there's a lot of people that do that where they then start a fitness, um, you know, fitness business and all of that. And I don't know if that's something I want to do. So I've struggled with that. But I've been asked quite a bit. Um, I think one of the things, we're both over 40 now. So which is interesting. You remember when we started and we had this older gentleman in the gym. He doesn't look that old, so if he's listening to
Yeah.
this now, he, but Obi was someone we both looked up to. He was over 50, but he looked very fit, very
Agreed.
active, and all that. When he showed us his children, and we saw how old his children were, and we're like, dude, you have children this old and all that. But he looked great, and then he told us how long he'd been working out for over like decades, and he showed us
Yeah.
how he used to look before he started working out,
Working out.
um, all of that. It was a good marker to look at. So maybe if like Obi, when my children are older, uh, in my 50s, and I've kept this going, then I would think that I have enough to put down to talk about a fitness journey. And because, and the reason I say that is there's a lot of fitness content targeted at people that are in their prime, young people, that are, physically in their prime,
Yeah.
19,
Yeah.
20s, 30s. But there's not a lot that is, to people who are in their middle age, older than 40, going into 50, going into 60, and all of that. So that's something that if I've gone through that journey, I would like to document and write. Say, if you're in your 40s and that's when you're about to start your fitness journey, then this is something that you can have a look at. Yeah, that would be something I think would be useful. But I'm very early in that phase of my life now, so I'd rather be towards yeah.
Thank you. Tunde Leye, for doing this. The
Thank you.
responses have been very, very spot on. Thank you. Great session.